Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, longtime astrologer, psychic healer, and yogi. In this episode, I'm going to talk about Pluto transiting direct in Aquarius. It begins on October 13th, 2025, and what this means for all of us and how we can work with Pluto transiting direct now in Aquarius. So, stay tuned. Hey, Cosmic Scene listeners, Jill Jardine here, and I've got something out of this world to share with you. Introducing the Cosmic Tower, a revolutionary energy harmonizing device designed to uplift your space, restore vitality, and bring coherence to your life. It's like plugging into the cosmos right from your living room. These towers are transforming homes, clearing EMFs, and awakening higher frequencies. And now you can experience it for yourself. I recently received my very own Cosmic Tower, and the experience has been truly magical. I've been feeling drained from work with physical pain flaring up, but within 2 hours of setting up the tower, my energy returned, my spirit lifted, and I felt ready for life again. I am so excited to be living with the Cosmic Tower and want you to learn more about it too. So check out thewellnessenterprise.com and tap into the frequency of the future. And guess what? If you use the code COSMIC10, that's capital COSMIC, all capitals, 10, COSMIC10 at checkout for 10% off your own Cosmic Tower. Welcome to the episode on Pluto now transiting forward in Aquarius, beginning on October 13th, 2025, and transiting direct at the end of 2025 and early 2026. Now, a little background is that Pluto has been retrograde since May 4th, 2025, when it did station retrograde at about 3 degrees Aquarius. And on October 13, 2025, Pluto stationed direct at 1 degree Aquarius, transiting out of its retrograde phase. So this is the first time in 240 years that Pluto is going forward and staying in Aquarius during its retrogrades. So it's very powerful. It's a slow-moving generational planet, but Pluto is the planet of power, and it rules the collective. So we're going to see things shift in the collective, and it's also affecting us psychologically and internally. So what that means for us all is that out in the world, in our countries, in our lives, we're going to see some energy pop and come to the surface, and there will be big tides of change. And Pluto is about death, rebirth, transformation, purging, purification. So we can use this energy in our personal lives, but also we'll see some purging in the collective. We will see psychological issues showing up with people in prominence in the world. We'll see how certain psyches are distorted or not viewing reality from a lens that is accurate. So anyway, this is really going to affect people who are born in the early degree of fixed signs. So that would be if you're born, your January Aquarius, specifically from about the 20th to about the 25th of January. This is going to impact you in your life personally. Same thing if you're an April Taurus, about the 20th of April through about the 26th. You're going to be affected by the square from Pluto. Early degree Leos that are born around July 21st to about the 26th, and then the early degree Scorpios that are born from about October 22nd through the 26th of October. So those early degrees of fixed signs are going to feel this in their personal lives in some way. And Pluto is sort of like the archetype of Shiva in the Vedic teachings or in Vedic astrology, where we are being required to release something. The other thing about Pluto in a personal transit is that it's going to really work on your ego or what you're attached to. So Pluto's saying you can't take it with you when you go. And there's no room for ego here when Pluto's in the house having its transit. So there's going to be some themes that come to head now that Pluto's transiting direct in the later part of 2025 throughout about the second part of the second quarter of 2026. And so things that have to do with Pluto, which is that transformation, death, rebirth, and also Aquarian energies that will come up in the world, the archetypes that have to do with Aquarius. So when Pluto was retrograde from May through October 13th, it was more internal. So for people in their individual lives, it would have been more introspective. People have to dissolve hidden powers. Definitely personal shadow was being worked on. You really got to see what your patterns were that you repressed. And I'm talking everybody, not just the fixed signs. Also, it gave an opportunity for internal transformation. And then these internal changes that went on will then seek an outlet. So, what is it that you'll have to do in your life to change? What kind of decisions will you have to make? What kind of actions will you take? And so, people may feel a renewal to manifest what they've been sitting with or to release something that no longer serves. That's on an individual basis. Now, with Pluto going direct with things to do with government, those in authority, power, Pluto rules power, authority, control, collective structures. And so in Aquarius, it's no longer about power being held by a few or what we would call the global elite or certain people who found their way to power politically or in other ways. But it's more about the people. Aquarius rules the collective. It's a higher vibratory sign, meaning what's good for the group will benefit all, as opposed to like a Leo archetype, which is what's good for the leader or the ruler, has to be good for the group because they don't have a choice. What the ruler or the king or the president says goes. So we're going from that kind of Leo archetype of what the leader decides to institute or implement having to go with the populace. Aquarius does the opposite. It's revolutionary, it's rebellious, it works within communities with similar ideological systems. It has to do with networking, new ideas, innovation, the use of technology to get goals accomplished. So we'll see more of that. And we'll see also that power as it has been, especially since Pluto was in Capricorn for 14 years before 2023, when it kept dipping its foot in and out in 2023 and 2024. We're going to see shifts in how power is acted upon or how it's worked out. And we're going to see demands for reformation. There'll be contestation against power that is being abused or not properly implemented. So that will happen now that Pluto will go direct. And as I mentioned, Aquarius, the sign, is the sign of group consciousness, reforms, people collaborating, finding your tribe, finding your people, and working toward a goal. It also gives us a focus on what's coming in the future. We get beyond just presently surviving and looking towards a future vision that will be better than what is being experienced. So when Pluto goes direct, it can enhance and accelerate the evolution of the collective. Collective consciousness can have major shifts. There'll be revolutions. People will look at the rights of the group, not just of certain individuals, again, who hold money or power, and looking at ways to use technology to create advances, looking at the power and the way of being in community and how to use resources to benefit the group. So there will be a collective reorganization. So we'll see systems that will change. There'll be breakthroughs in social justice. We'll see perhaps a decentralization of government, not a consolidation. So Pluto going through Aquarius is about don't put baby in a corner. It's going to expose hypocrisy. It's going to expose the double standards. And when there are groups of people who increasingly are feeling disenfranchised, and I'm talking about groups like the middle class in the United States and other groups that have kind of lost their status and, are seeing that and feeling the lack of what used to be the way things were, you're going to see a bit of rebellion coming up. And the truth is going to become very important. So people might stand up for what feels right. Stand up, stand up, stand up for your rights. And even if it's not supported in the way that it would be by those in power who should be thinking of the group, people will still rise up and try to bring in a new paradigm of life economically and in the quality of life. Instead of having it being chipped away at, people are going to be like, wait a minute, what's going on here? 5 years ago, I was in an economically better situation and I made less money. So there's going to be a lot of economic waking up as people realize that perhaps they are not benefiting in their world, in their country, in their life the way that they had been. So it's not about going back to the past. It's about creating a better future and looking at the next generations and looking at the world. Aquarius thinks big. It's global. It's the world. It's the planet. It's not just a few special interest groups who might be making some money at the same time it's harming the environment or it's taking away national lands that are everybody's to enjoy and be able to connect with the earth. So we will see an awakening as well with Pluto going direct with core issues such as connecting to nature as well as preserving the planet and thinking about future ramifications for what actions are happening in the present. And also, Pluto in Aquarius can be very much a karmic taskmaster, even though Saturn is known by that title, so to speak, or Saturn is considered the karmic lord. Pluto works in a different way. It's very insidious and it has to work with energies that may be unseen, as the natural ruler of Pluto is Scorpio. So there's a lot of behind the scenes energies that are at work to help clear. There's a lot more psychological purging. There's the looking at the collective psyche, why certain people buy into certain situations, or sort of looking at like a cult mentality. Why would a cult follow a certain leader without really realizing that it's appealing to something in their own psychology that is yet to be healed? And so they look to the cult leader as their potential savior or healer. We're going to see a lot of exposure of that kind of energy as well as Pluto goes direct. So it's really an interesting time personally. You can look at your own psychology and where do you still need healing? What's your blind spot? And usually that's something that others would mirror back to you in your life as far as commenting. And there's the kind way of the mirror back, or there's the harsh way. So Pluto may not pick one route over the other. It still will mirror back the psychological shadow or void that's showing up in an individual or a society. So there's something that can be said for Pluto in general. It will release and perhaps whittle away at certain layers so you can get down to the core, so you can get to the essence. And from that place where usually an essence is quite pure, then the creation can start again. Remember, the theme of Pluto is about death. So something has to die or be transformed so it can be reborn in a new and better way. And the archetypal energy of Pluto is the phoenix arising from the ashes. So we're seeing this kind of energetic going on, what people think is a destruction of certain things, perhaps Destruction has to happen so that new creation can emerge from it. Again, it's the Shiva archetype in the Vedic teachings. Shiva is called the destroyer, but he destroys ego so that true creativity can arise from within the soul. So, this is quite a profound time that we're going through collectively as well as personally. And so, ultimately, it is about anchoring transformation. So the changes that have gone on from May through mid October that have been worked on internally or behind the scenes, as Pluto goes direct, there can be new structures that can come into your life, into the life of societies that will take form and stability. And then personally and collectively, we can also experience some insights, clarity, shifts in awareness that can lead to decisive action. That's all with Pluto going direct in the sign Aquarius. So, some ways that it may show up in the world will be through individuals or groups having sudden clarity or awakening. A lot of people have been telling me in my private practice as a consulting astrologer, psychologist, healer, that they've been feeling stuck. They've been feeling stuck. A lot of anxiety and fear bubbling up for people. So we may see that shift or clear because whatever that internal pressure is, it can pop. And then that opens up the energy and clears the emotional backup, so to speak. There can also be a sense that people really want to assist their own personal evolution and seek modalities, techniques, tools for transformation, to be in alignment with that, and to act on this inner light that is emerging from the shadow. We will see realignments with relationships or groups. People may let go of certain groups or relationships they have. I've been seeing this a lot, and people talk to me about this a lot in private session work, where people are letting go of who they may have been spending time with and are now finding new alliances that are more aligned with their truth or who they are becoming. There's also a desire to become healthier or recreate, reconstruct systems in the life, such as the habitual patterns or habits, maybe making healthier habits, aligning with new beliefs or institutions that would reflect the deeper value system that's emerging. And so, whatever has been going on since May for individuals, society, groups, we're going to see that there now be an emotional, psychological integration from that. And also, that would include spiritually integrating whatever had gone on. And so now it's all about bringing it into form, or as we say in healing, embodying it. So there can be a lot of growth. There can be a lot of almost like feel good coming to the surface or coming into the body after perhaps feeling it's been a heavy, dense time. We're going to feel a lightness. And of course, there's always more work to do internally and externally. But this Pluto going direct may shift things so much that the sun is shining again for many people where maybe it was cloudy. So it is quite exciting. And so some ways that you can work with this is to know that you're in process. Transformation is a process. It's not to be rushed, and just continue on the path one step at a time, because before you know it, you would have gained distance. But keep moving forward. Also, act from integrity, because Pluto will call you out.
No, I don't think so.
If you are doing anything that is shadowy in nature, such as lying, stealing, not being in alignment with truth or your personal truth. That being said, then there's others who are going through the same process and who may have evolved that you can connect with, who will be allies, co-creators, and kindred spirits. So be ready to connect with those type of people. It goes without saying, keep doing the inner work, meditating, yoga, journaling, any practices that will help you to anchor your insights or bring that vision or this new energy into your reality. With Pluto being the planet of power, there's always going to be those energies seeking power over. So this is in society as well as in people's individual lives. So watch out for power dynamics, watch out for manipulation or hidden agendas in groups and relationships. And it's time to both work with the inward energy as well as looking outward. So we're going to see our systems out there shift. So you have to keep your inner alignment strong. You have to keep doing your inner work and align with that inner GPS to know what is your truth and what does not resonate. Remember, we are in the time of frequency with Pluto and Aquarius. So your vibration is everything. So you want to make sure that you are not coming from a place of lack or scarcity. If you're trying to bring in more financial resources or more economic well-being, you want to come from a place of inward prosperity and gratitude. If you want relationship, you don't want to come from a place of resenting perhaps past relationships or other people in your life who may have happy relationships, but you want to come from a place of knowing that you too can have this. And resentment is one of the things that you want to clear out of your field. As far as what's going on out there in the world and the news, again, you can't change that. You can't change what the media is saying or what the narratives are, but you can decide not to put your attention there. You can decide to know, as we always say, energy flows where attention goes. So attention is one of your most valuable currencies because that's how you're going to create your reality. And Pluto will help you. And so there's really opportunities here with Pluto going direct now. We can really start making some headway in our life. We can really look at those patterns that may be sabotaging or interfering with us having our healthiest, wealthiest, happiest, elevated, peaceful, prosperous life. And we can take steps toward releasing the obstacles and blocks and stepping into our new reality. So go for it. Stay tuned for when I return, when I explain how Pluto transiting direct in Aquarius for the next 6+ months will affect each sun sign. Hey listeners, this is Jill Jardine, host of Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine, and I have some exciting news for you. I've just published my first book called Sacred Sound Formulas to Awaken the Modern Mind, Sanskrit Mantras to Raise Your Vibration. You've listened to my episodes on Sanskrit mantras for the past 5 years, and some of you know that I am a certified Sanskrit mantra instructor and reverend in Sanskrit mantra through the lineage of Thomas Ashley Farran, Namadeva Acharya. Well, this book is going to tell you more about mantras and how they can help you evolve, the importance of frequency and resonance, and sound vibrations that come from the cosmos. So you're going to want to get your copy of Sacred Sound Formulas to Awaken the Modern Mind by Parashakti Jill Jardine. Go on to www.innerpeacepress.com and order your copy now. Welcome back to the part of the episode when I give the sun sign impacts of Pluto transiting forward through Aquarius. We're going to start with Aries. Now, if you know your rising or your ascendant, you can look at Aries both for the sun and rising. And with all zodiac forecasts, look at your sun and look at your rising or ascendant sign. So for the Aries, when Pluto goes direct in Aquarius, and as it transits through it forward, it's going to activate your 11th house of community, vision, and future goals. So you can expect some power shifts with friendships, alliances, organizations. You may even be thinking about taking on a leadership role or working for a cause that you really resonate with, but you want to stay really in integrity with your personal goals as well, especially being an Aries. Not in a bad way, but Aries is known for me first. But you can bring that me first into the group and see some progress being made. You also get some clarity about your own purpose and how you can express that in the world. Taurus, sun sign or rising sign. Pluto's going to turn direct in your 10th house of career and public image and dharma. What's my purpose? So, this is fantastic for moving ahead in your career, transforming your professional life, perhaps taking on a new job or maybe working several jobs, whatever it takes to find what it is where work is play and play is work. You may even step into greater authority or influence in what it is that you're doing. And you're really looking at redefining what is success. And it may not be working a really powerful job, it may be work life balance. It may be working so you can pursue your spiritual path. It may be working to pursue a recreational path. So it's all about balance. And so it's your authenticity being empowered through how you live your life, basically, including your job. Gemini, sun or ascendant, Pluto now transiting direct in Aquarius is very good for you as it creates a nice aspect to your natal sun. It also lights up your ninth house of belief, expansion, and higher learning. You're going to be on a path of discovery and journeying and visiting horizons near and far, both externally and internally. So, you might explore philosophy, spirituality that you've been interested in. You may want to share this information and teach. Travel, as I said, is going to be very, very important for you. It's aligned with finding a renewed sense of purpose. Cancer, Pluto's transiting direct now through Aquarius is moving through your eighth house of intimacy, shared power, and transformation. So, all that work you've done internally will now come to blossom in your external life. So, there'll be deep emotional and energetic shifts that you're integrating after the retrograde. And because of this, you've been working on self worth issues, which could show up as enhanced financial situations, looking at who you trust, who you don't, and also knowing who you can connect with and express your truth to. So it's really good for you with building healthy boundaries and looking at healing emotional wounds. Leo, Pluto goes direct in your seventh house of partnerships and relationships. So, all the dynamics in your relationships may be changing. This is both in personal relationships and professional connections. So, you'll see who stays and who goes, and you'll know who is in your camp and who is not. Allies and enemies comes very clear. You'll also see who's trying to hold power over you and where you may have soul contracts that you can decide to complete or cut the cord. So, all your relationships are going to mirror where you are in your life now as you move into this new phase. Virgo, Pluto moving forward in Aquarius affects your sixth house of work, wellness, and service. So you have to amp up those daily regimes and routines. Look at your health. Take a deep look at your health. And we're talking not just what's showing up externally, but what's going on internally, both emotionally and physically, that could be affecting your life. Also, if there's any dissatisfaction with the job or work, it's going to be very hard to continue hanging in there because there has been internal growth, and perhaps your job situation no longer reflects what you need, who you are, or what your skill set is. So you're really looking at how you have evolved out of the past and coming into a new place of purification and power. Libra, Pluto turns direct in your fifth house of creativity, romance, and self expression. So you might feel creativity coming to the surface that you want to expound upon. It's going to really be bubbling over, and you want to find a way to express it. Also, there could have been some healing on that inner child or younger self, and now they want to come out and play. So make sure that you have room for recreation and playfulness in your life. Old fears around worthiness can be healing, and you are finding your authentic voice. Scorpio, Pluto now empowers your fourth house of home, roots, and emotional foundations. So the deep psychological, ancestral, and DNA work that you've done in the recent months will show up now, and you'll feel like a different person. You might look at where you're living, who you're living with, and have a desire to transform that, whether it's staying where you are and fixing it up in some way or improving it or making it more comfortable or actually deciding to move. And you're looking at your family dynamics, which could have gone through a shift and healing. And maybe there's an understanding of the parents from a different perspective, and also taking the role as a nurturer in a family in a deeper way. Sagittarius, Pluto goes direct and transits your third house of communication, learning, and mindset. It's going to really activate the power of your voice. Not that you need help with that, but Sagittarius is going to speak your truth even louder. You're ready to express, and you may step into the role of teacher, or you do have information to share. Just make sure it's not coming from a one-sided perspective. You will be attracted to philosophies and spirituality that are practically applicable and make sense. So you're deciding to speak your truth, not to hit other people over the head with it, but to share valuable information. Capricorn, Pluto going direct and transiting through your second house of resources, values, and self worth will have you take a long look at how you value yourself and what you bring into the world. So, this is going to affect finances and how you look at where you stand. Are you coming from a scarcity consciousness or prosperity? There's also going to be issues around self esteem. So now you're really looking at building abundance and prosperity based on your true value and not what you think it was or what you were told you are worth. So you're looking at your health and wealth as the new currency. Aquarius, this is you. This is Pluto going direct in your house of self. So every aspect of your life is up for reevaluation. And you're really going to see the proof in the pudding of the work that you've done internally since May. So don't be surprised if things are released from your life, either by your own reconnaissance or by others leaving. Don't push agendas. If situations and people leave, they weren't meant to go the distance with you. So let it go. You're coming into a deeper level of authority and magnetism, and others may even comment on how you look or act differently, or they don't even recognize you. So stand in your truth, Aquarius. And then Pisces, Pluto is transiting through your house of spirituality, dreams, and the subconscious. Oh my gosh, you're releasing karma like nobody's business. And you're going to see some benefits from that. Also, you're in the world, but not of it. Your inherent mystical connections are getting deeper, and you're seeing it play out in your life. So, don't be surprised if you have precognitive dreams, that you are dreaming about situations that then, within the next weeks or months, start playing out in your world. You're going to scare people when you start telling them that you already knew it was going to happen. So, hidden gifts are emerging and they can be used in your day to day life. So, surrender and release your ego, and you will feel empowered. I hope you enjoyed this episode on Pluto transiting direct in Aquarius. Make sure you share, subscribe, download, and give us a 5-star review. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine, sending Plutonian purifying waves of healing and consciousness through the quantum field.